I don't. So, like, if you were to describe ROTC for those who may be interested, or maybe
Yeah.
like even not so much like a recruiting pitch, but like, what was it like once you got in?
Yeah. So when you get in, it's not that much like the army people think of. You're not going out there. You're not going to shoot much. You're not going to really learn like that much tactically. What it is a leadership course. They make you uncomfortable. They'll put you in charge of people. So they'll give you like 10 guys and say you're in charge of them, not just like making sure they show up to events, making sure like, hey, did they do their homework? Are they doing well in school? Like you're involved in their life, because that's what the army expects of you. They expect you to be involved in your soldiers' lives, because right, if a guy has problems with his wife, he's not going to fight as well, kind of thing. So it's a leadership course in that way. They force you to be a leader. And that's the benefit of the school. You're not going to learn, like I said, you're not going to learn much tactically. You'll go out and you'll learn basic soldier stuff, some first aid, some like a little bit of raid, ambush, attack, defense, like a little bit of not really anything that's going to be that valuable to you to teach you that when you're in the army. What's
Mm-hmm.
valuable at ROTC is you're forced to be a leader, which school isn't going to do that to you. Sitting in the classroom, you're not going to be forced to be a leader.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to take the person that looks the most uncomfortable and they're going to put them in front of a formation, and they're going to say, all right, you're in charge, do it. So that's the benefit of ROTC more than anything else.
For sure. That wasn't, maybe it has changed. Maybe you had changed once you got to school, but that was not your or my forte, really, the leadership sort of thing. Did you feel like, if you had to like get up in front of a group and talk to people, or be in charge of people, you feel, I want to say obviously like the school worked, but like, can you describe sort of how that process changed for you personally?
Yeah. So, and they did a really good job. They put you in it gradually. So you'll start out just someone's in charge of you, you're learning, and then maybe after your first semester, they'll put you in charge of a small team, 5 to 6. And then as you go along, like by your junior year, you're in charge of maybe a platoon, maybe 40, 50 sometimes, because it was joint schools.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll force you to go up there and like brief what we call it, like an operations order. And you'll go up there and you will deliver a plan for usually about an hour in front of everybody while everyone's judging you on it. And they force you to have that confidence in your speaking. And my public speaking took off. I mean, I now would have no qualms speaking in front of a large group of people. I do it all the time in my job. I mean, when I was a executive officer, we had over 100 soldiers that I'd speak to in large formations,
Mm-hmm.
every other day, maybe daily. Very comfortable doing it, and I was not before I went to school. So the program works as long as you develop that confidence, like kind of in your talent set,
Mm-hmm.
and in that group, and then yeah, it's really beneficial in that way. My confidence, like in myself and my military bearing and all that, increased dramatically throughout
Mm-hmm.
my time.
Was it difficult? Was it difficult for you to make that adjustment? I remember, like, for myself in college, my first couple of presentations or
Yeah.
like were not so good, and then by the end, I had got better. Um, and now coaching as well helps with that, coaching soccer.
Yeah.
But did you notice that, like, sort of the first time you were in charge of somebody, you were like, oh, I don't know if I can tell them to do this or not, and then now by the end, you're like, I won't use it, whatever. But
Yeah. Absolutely, especially like because they'll put people that are been in longer than you in the program, like sophomores. They'll put freshmen in charge of them and stuff like that. So yeah, I struggled a lot, and but I joined a couple organizations. Like I joined a military fraternal organization
mm-hmm.
that helped me out with that too, because they've put us through the ringer during that thing, and that kind of sped me along in my development. And they did
Sure.
a lot to develop us personally. So I think I actually transitioned pretty quickly. When I first got there, I was a little nervous about it, but
Mm-hmm.
after a little bit, I felt really comfortable very, very quickly.
Yeah, that's good. I think that'll definitely help you once. I mean, I don't know what your plans are in the future, but if you decide to leave active duty when
Yeah.
job interviews and stuff, that'll definitely help with that. I also have a team that I'm managing now at work. And so being on the other side of interviewing people,
Yeah.
you can tell sort of almost immediately, like, not this person, not this person. Yeah, that person might be a good fit, but there's always sort of, if you have that confidence going into an interview, it always gives you a higher chance, because somebody could be more qualified for the job than you, But if they don't know how to tell you that they're more qualified for the job, then you like, how am I supposed to know to hire you? So, and especially with interviews, and this is kind of a side note a little bit, but I'm like, for me, when people say that they struggle with interviews, personally, I don't really get it that much because they're asking you questions about yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't you know? And I understand that people get nervous and like, and all sorts like that. Like, I'm not trying to diminish anyone's sort of struggles with that, but you're telling me like it makes you realize that it's a hard skill to sort of sell yourself as like, hey, I'm the best person for this because of blank,
Yeah.
blank, and blank. And that's the one thing that I've noticed working with people in the military, that they're very like confident most of the time in what they're portraying and like what they're saying, like in meetings and stuff. Even if they're in like not in uniform, like which ones are former military or which ones are just civilians, and you can tell very, very easily most of the time just based off how they present themselves. And I think that's a good thing that the military does for like younger people, especially now, because like you see like myself coaching, like you can't make kids run anymore because they'll just be like, no, I don't want to run, and then they'll like run really slow around the field, and it's like not even a punishment anymore because they're not scared of like they're not scared. So I think the military is doing a really good job with that, but that's just how I see it now anyways. But I don't know, what are your thoughts on
No,
that?
you're right. Especially specifically talking the officer corps. Like, I get a lot of interaction with interviews. Believe it or not, I've changed
Mm-hmm.
jobs almost every 6 months
Mm-hmm.
because the Army's constantly in flux. Like, people are always in and out. And so as I've been moving up in job positions, it's been every 6 months, and I have to interview for all of them. So I've done
Mm-hmm.
probably 5 interviews now, just within my couple years in the Army. Almost what, 3.5? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
closing in on 3.5. I've done about 5 interviews during that time for various different jobs, and so I get really comfortable with that. And you're usually talking to someone that vastly outranks you. Like, for my last one, I was talking to our brigade commander, who
Mm-hmm.
is 4 grades above me and runs an organization of 5,000. So
Yeah.
it's you get used to it, and these senior leaders, they have a really tough mentality. They're they've been in for a long time. Most of them, they're all in the invasion and all that, so they have
Mm-hmm.
a very different outlook on life and on like job perspectives and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
it kind of forces you to be extremely confident because that's what they expect, and if you don't do it, they're just going to blow you off.
Yeah, you have to earn their respect. I noticed that even like, so I was doing systems engineering for Marine Corps Systems
Mm-hmm.
Command, and even some of the like the guys that were in like the program managers and stuff, they're like lieutenant colonels and colonels and like high ranks. And so like if you're talking to them, one, you're not even a government employee, so it's like
Yeah,
depending on who it is, they can look at you as like lower than that. And then two, you have to really know what you're talking about, because otherwise, why should they listen to you? Like, they've got so
yeah,
much other stuff to do. And if you're like, hey, I have a good idea, you better make sure that they know why it's a good idea. Otherwise, they'll be like, nah, I don't have time for you.
yeah, they'll blow it off.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
for
get busy
sure.
schedules and they get really personal about it. I've
Mm-hmm,
noticed
for
that.
sure.
Yeah.
It's like,
So,
this meeting ended at 12:15. It is now 12:15. I'm walking out of the room.
yep, I'm gone. I got a
Yep,
schedule to keep. They're big about it. It's
exactly.
time's valuable.
It's good.